Medusa, her name alone, evokes images of horror, of a woman with serpents for hair whose gaze could turn even the bravest warrior into cold, lifeless stone. One of the most infamous figures in all of Greek mythology, Medusa has become a symbol of both terror and mystery. But her story didn't begin in darkness. Long before she was labeled a monster, Medusa was a radiant, mortal woman born of the primordial sea deities Phorcys and Ceto. Medusa was the only mortal among her siblings, creatures of the deep and ancient powers of the ocean. From the moment she came into the world, she was breathtaking. Her long hair shimmered like spun gold beneath the sun, her eyes mirrored the waves, and her voice was soft as sea foam on sand. Wherever she walked, hearts were stirred. Men and women alike found themselves enchanted by her presence, and suitors from near and far sought a glimpse of her radiant face. Yet Medusa was not vain, nor was she seductive in any calculating way. She carried herself with humility and purity, shunning the attention of lustful eyes. Despite the crowds that followed her, she remained untouched, chaste, dignified, and devout. Her admiration for wisdom and virtue led her to the goddess Athena, protector of wisdom, war, and justice. Seeing Athena not just as a goddess, but as an ideal, Medusa pledged herself as a virgin priestess in the temple. Dedicated to her serving as a priestess of Athena was a sacred honor. It required unwavering devotion, discipline, and absolute chastity. Medusa embraced these responsibilities with all her heart. She became an exemplar of piety and devotion, pouring herself into temple rituals and prayers. But her beauty, though cloaked in humility, became a problem. Pilgrims came not to worship the goddess, but to gaze upon her beautiful servant. The temple, once a place of solemn reverence, grew crowded with those driven the goddess Athena began to notice. Though divine and beyond mortal vanity, even she could not ignore the way Medusa's fame as a mortal beauty had begun to eclipse her own in whispers and idle talk. The moment that sealed Medusa's fate came when a citizen, perhaps in foolish honesty, dared to proclaim aloud that Medusa's hair surpassed even that of Athena herself. Though the words were not Medusa's, they struck the goddess deeply. Still, Athena did not retaliate, not immediately. She remained composed, perhaps hoping time would resolve the imbalance, or perhaps waiting for fate to present its hand. That moment would come, cruel and sudden. One day, as Medusa walked along the rocky shore near the temple, the sea god Poseidon caught sight of her. Mighty and impetuous, Poseidon was the ruler of the oceans, a god of immeasurable power and pride. He was captivated at once. Her mortal form walking freely on his domain seemed to shine with divine light. Desire gripped him like a storm. He pursued her with relentless flirtation, sending waves of charm and promises crashing over her. But Medusa, loyal to Athena and her vow, rejected Poseidon's lust, turned into obsession. Adding to his desire was the bitter rivalry he held with Athena. To claim her priestess, to desecrate her temple, would be the ultimate insult. And so, blinded by pride and craving, Poseidon allowed his godhood to eclipse his judgment. One fateful day, Medusa fled to the temple in fear, seeking the protection of the goddess she loved. Her robes tangled with sea wind. Her feet bled from running across the rocky coast. She cried out to Athena for help as Poseidon followed close behind. But no divine hand intervened. In the sacred space meant for peace and purity, Poseidon seized her. Before the unblinking eyes of Athena's statue, he violated the young woman on the cold stone, the temple, once a refuge. After the act, Silence reigned, but it did not last long. The air. And then Athena turned not to Poseidon, for to challenge a male god was considered beyond proper divine conduct. In her eyes, it was not Poseidon who had failed, but Medusa. She viewed the mortal as the source of the dishonor, as if her beauty and presence had tempted the god and invited the shame upon the temple. There was no room for forgiveness. In divine fury, Athena cursed Medusa. Her long golden hair, the very feature once praised as the most beautiful in Greece, was transformed into a nest of venomous snakes. Her radiant face twisted in agony, her soft gaze turned deadly. From that moment forward, any creature who looked into her eyes would be turned to stone. The curse was cruel and final. Medusa was no longer a priestess. She was now a monster. Banished from the world she once graced, Medusa fled to the edge of the earth, taking refuge in a dark cave, surrounded by the petrified remains of those foolish or brave enough to seek her out. Many warriors, eager for glory, came to slay the Gorgon and claim her head as a trophy. None returned. One by one, they were frozen in time by her cursed stare, becoming lifeless statues. That marked the boundaries of her exile. Years passed, and Medusa lived in isolation, her life a shadow of the woman she once was. But her legend only grew. Eventually, the hero Perseus, aided by Athena and Hermes, was chosen to defeat her. Armed with a reflective shield to avoid her deadly gaze, a sword, and winged sandals, Perseus ventured into the Gorgon's lair. He crept toward her while she slept, her serpent hair coiling gently in slumber. Guided by her reflection in his polished shield, he raised his blade and brought it down in a single, fatal strike. Her head was severed cleanly, and her curse ended at last. Yet even in death, her power lingered. Her severed head still retained its petrifying gaze and would later be used as a weapon on Athena's shield, the Aegis. But that was not the end of her story. Unknown to all, Medusa had been carrying Poseidon's children, and from the blood spilled upon the earth from her neck, two beings were born: Pegasus, the winged horse, symbol of divine inspiration and flight, and Chrysaor, the giant with a golden sword. Even in death, Medusa gave birth to legends. Her story is one of beauty turned tragedy, of divine injustice, and of a woman transformed by forces beyond her control. Some say she deserved her fate. Others argue she was punished for being too beautiful, too pure, too mortal in a world ruled by gods. Whatever the truth, the name Medusa will forever echo through myth as a symbol of power, pain, and the haunting price of divine wrath.